What is up, guys and girls? It is Talitha here. Hello, how are you? And this is my first, vlog for my newly created YouTube video, Real Talk with Talitha. Now, I am not going to muck around. I am diving in head first. I'm talking about the D word, obviously being divorce. Now, I want to shed some light and some gold nuggets on this entire process in terms of going into detail, but not detail around the whys and the hows in terms of why my marriage ended, but talking around why there's no shame around a marriage or a partnership or a relationship ending, and why the D word doesn't degrade you as a human, doesn't make you any less of a human, doesn't make you a failure. In fact, my 2 cents around divorce or separation is that at least I know what it feels like to have experienced such a magical time that is, partnerships in general, or falling in love and going through that entire process together as a unionship. And to be able to say that I've done that in terms of I experienced that relationship, that partnership, that unionship, and at the end of the day, marriage, even though it didn't work, even though it probably wasn't the right thing in hindsight, but at least I experienced it. I lived my truth at the time, which meant that I walked down that aisle, right? Things change, people change, situations changes, right? So what worked then doesn't mean it's going to work that way forever. And I was never under any illusion that it was going to be death do us part, because to be honest with you, the whole philosophy around marriage, I guess I questioned from a young age. Me being me, I didn't ever really see myself wearing that, white dress, walking down the aisle. I saw myself wearing fucking gold sequin dress or something like that, Ironically enough, I wore the white dress. I wore the white dress. That's quite a mouthful. Anyway, and I guess to be really frank here, I have always questioned the monogamy of marriage, because every second person that you come across in this world has either experienced infidelity, has been the culprit, or has been on the receiving end, and that alone kind of made me go, the fuck? Now, that was never involved in my marriage. I'm not that type of person. However, the theory behind it all, in terms of you are with this one person for the rest of your life, always had this kind of question mark behind my beliefs around marriage. I mean, yes, it's a lovely fairy tale to be with that one person for the rest of your life, but is that actually a reality? And in our current society, that would be a no. Now, to get to the nuts and bolts of it, I spent probably 3 or 4 years not in my essence, not in my shell, not in my vessel, not in my body, certainly not cultivating who I am, which is joyful, happy, positive, me, batshit crazy Talitha, batshit crazy in a good way. I wasn't her. I lost her for a long time, and that was really daunting, and it probably wasn't notable to me until after the fact, when I was like, holy shit, that was intense. I lost myself because I went against my intuition from the get-go, which was basically saying to me, there's something not right here in this unionship. There's something missing, but I fought against it because I was like, no, you've got to give this a chance, Talitha. Like, don't run for the hills like you've always done when you were younger. Be vulnerable, let your guard down, and, be open to receiving love. And my husband, ex-husband, soon to be, whatever you want to call him, showed me that love and showed me his nurturing side, which I was deeply craving at the time, going back kind of 6 years ago. But I lost myself in all of this because I didn't follow my intuition. I didn't follow my truth. I got swept up in the idea of marriage and the idea of, a unionship, a partnership with someone. Great, someone's going to love me and take care of me. And I think I also wanted to, kind of fit in and do what everyone else is doing in my circle of friends. I mean, I was probably the last woman standing when it came to walking down that aisle. And I certainly am the last woman standing without any kids, but a different topic altogether, and I'm totally fine with that. However, what I wasn't okay with was knowing that I was in something that wasn't right, and I knew that it wasn't. I knew that it wasn't right, and so the cycle began. And it was at my wedding night that literally every single person that was my nearest and dearest that was at my wedding, combined wedding I had with my beautiful sister and her wife at Mavis's Kitchen in Mount Warning, every single person that I knew came up to me and said, Talitha, I can't believe you're getting married. I can't believe you're getting married. I never thought you'd get married. And I'm like, news fucking flash, you're at my wedding. So obviously the night of your wedding, you want it to be just this incredible experience. And I had all these people, which are my guests, come up to me going, oh yeah, I never thought you'd do this, but cool. And I'm like, okay, Houston, we have a very, very big problem. We have a very big problem. Very big problem. And so the course of denial began, and that is essentially the beginning of the end. It was about probably 6 months after that 6 months after we got married, 6 to 12 months actually, let's be realistic here, where I really went south. So I was deeply unhappy, didn't really know it. Not me. I lost that spark, and then my sister said to me once, like, Tao, I look at you and I don't see you in your eyes anymore, and that really hit home with me. I had my best friends from Melbourne calling me going, are you okay? Are you sure you're okay? And I'm like, yeah, fine. Brush, because I wasn't ready to admit that I was in a really bad place. So shit was getting real. Shit was getting really, really real and really tough. And I knew that I had to figure this out because I was literally, I don't know what the fuck. I wasn't in a good place or space, and certainly wasn't embodying my joyful self. And I wanted her back, God damn it. So I had to face the truth, and that was that my marriage is ending, or was ending, or was done, and I had to find the strength to be able to voice that to my family, which I was fucking petrified about doing because of fear of letting them down. I had to voice that to my friends, and that's kind of a bit of a bruised ego scenario, like, yeah, you were right. But I had to do it because it was a necessity. I forget the day where we were going to my parents' place for, what day was it? Anzac Day in 2019. That was the end of my marriage. That day, I voiced it. I spoke my truth. I said, listen, I can't do this anymore. I am done. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. The most gut-wrenching, the most emotionally upheaval, where was I going with that word? Who knows? The most full-on experience to watch someone crumble right before you and to feel every ounce of yourself kind of crumble as well. But then you had this glimmer of hope around the situation that you were going to be okay, that you were doing the right thing. And yes, I had to navigate through managing my families, her wife. They understood, they were so supportive, but I really had to, I struggled with my parents because they struggled with telling my parents that my marriage was ending or had ended, because I was so fearful of hurting them, because I love them dearly and I'm very protective of them, and I didn't allow them to get involved in my unhappiness when I guess I knew intuitively that my marriage was going south very quickly. Now beyond that point, I then packed up my stuff. I had to get out of Tweed, or my hometown, which is where I am now. I'm back here. Funny how things go in circles. And I went back to Melbourne, and that was my way of kind of shaking things off and recovering. Also, I had to do. Maybe it was destructive in reality. However, here I am living proof that you can find the strength to speak your truth. You can find the strength to remove yourself from anything in which is not making you happy, and remove yourself from anything in which is not in alignment with you anymore. And there's no shame around that. And I'll say it again, there is no shame around that. In fact, I am so fucking proud of myself as I sit here today as this woman that is glowing, is happy. And I wouldn't be here had I not gone through all of that shit, right? So the moral of the story is that you will get through that storm. You'll make it out the other side, and I bet you your bottom dollar you'll come back better than you ever have before.